Hello and welcome to Rich Dad World. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in and for watching, especially these crazy times. We don't think there's anything more important than your own financial education. And today we have a very special show, a very special guest. We're going to look at the big picture and then we'll take it to the small picture. But our guest today with Robert and myself is George Gammon. George Gammon's an entrepreneur. He's a real estate investor. And I love this. He says he is a self-proclaimed macro addict. So I know for me, when I look at the macro picture, it helps me understand my own micro world and how to best use my money and use my knowledge to take advantage of what's coming. And there's a lot coming. So today we're going to talk about the macroeconomics and how it affects you and your world. So Robert,
I want to introduce George just because old guys have got to learn from young guys. And George's site is called The Rebel Capitalist. And I am a subscriber to it because George does stay in the macro, but his ability to go from macro to micro to what's going on today is vital. So Rebel Capitalist is the program you should definitely subscribe to. And it's always a pleasure to work with George because it's all macro. George, welcome to our little show here.
Welcome, George.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure.
So how'd you get into the Rebel Capitalist show? I mean, what happened there?
And it's a fabulous show, fabulous podcast.
My goodness gracious. Well, we started investing in Colombia in real estate, Medellin, 2015, and I started a TV show there.
The country of Colombia.
Yeah, Medellin, Colombia. And then we started doing a TV show there in 2019. And I just parlayed that TV show into a YouTube channel where initially we were talking about real estate investing because I thought that's what people wanted to hear. But I always like talking about macro. That's my passion. And so no one really watched the videos on real estate, but they really liked the videos on macro. So it was a win-win. And I kept doing those. We did whiteboard videos. And then a few months into it, I started the Rebel Capitalist show, which you guys have been on. And I've been able to talk to brilliant minds like yourself and other people that we all like listening to in the business. And then we started Rebel Capitalist Pro, which Robert was mentioning. And now we're doing Rebel Capitalist Live, where we're actually doing a conference. And it's all just a lot. I'm very blessed that I've had the opportunity to do this and follow my passion. But it all started with education. You know, I needed to educate myself how to invest my own money when I retired back in 2012. And it was that self-discovery process of finding Milton Friedman, Thomas Sowell, Jim Rogers, Jim Rickards, Rick Rule, Doug Casey, and then learning from those individuals and applying those techniques to my own portfolio. And that's kind of what brought me to real estate in the first place. And that's how I know what I know today. I've got to give all the credit to those individuals.
Yeah, you're also a global entrepreneur. I never know where you're going to be next week.
Yeah, I mean, I look for opportunity wherever it exists. And we're talking about the macro environment we live in today. It's really unprecedented, the amount of money printing the government is doing with the help of the Federal Reserve. And I mean, they're talking about UBI. Now, I just heard them talk about it in Los Angeles. They've talked about it in Canada. I've been talking about this since I started the YouTube channel in 2019. I mean, we basically have it right now with all these stimulus checks, but I think they'll make it permanent because remember quantitative easing when it first came out? Ben Bernanke never said that it was QE1. He just said that it was QE because we weren't supposed to have a 2, 3, and a now infinity. But what happens is the economy gets addicted to it. So now the economy is addicted to stimulus, government spending, and therefore addicted to this money printing, MMT, whatever you want to call it. So that's what the average investor needs to be cognizant of because they have to adjust their portfolio accordingly. If they don't, then they're really going to have some financial difficulties in the future.
So George, UBI, Universal Basic Income, how is that going to impact the US and the world?
Well,
and the investor?
Yeah, what that means is simply there's more currency units in the economy that are chasing goods and services. So currency, there's more dollars. Let's just put it that way. So if there's more
That's what
dollars,
Trump calls it fake money. There's fake news and fake money.
Feeling powerless over current events and your financial future? Financial freedom is your freedom. Robert Kiyosaki is the best-selling author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Over 40 million people have taken Robert's advice. Now it's your turn. Attend Robert's free virtual wealth building event. Claim your free access now at richdadfree.com. Don't wait, access is limited. Go to richdadfree.com. That's richdadfree.com.
So
yeah, that all the dollar is fake money.
Yeah,
because it's just an IOU. And to make it more extreme, all your checking account is the bank saying we owe you IOUs. It's like a double IOU, but they're creating more dollars. So it's just simple math. If there's more dollars out there chasing the same amount or fewer goods and services, most likely the price of those goods and services are going to increase. And if prices are going to increase over the next, call it 10, 15 years significantly, you need to have your portfolio set up in a much different way than if prices were to go down or stay the same over the next 10 to 15 years.
right. So if I could say this is a financial education program, we don't make recommendations. I highly endorse, Rich Dad's World and coaching and learning from experts. The reason I like YouTube is that when I went to school, most of the teachers were fake teachers. They spoke about subjects they didn't know anything about. And so the reason I like what George's show and, Jim Rickards and all these guys who come on is they're real teachers. I mean, they actually practice what they teach. But if you go to a university, they don't know what they're talking about. And so you actually get more stupid when you go to school. That's my opinion. Well, that's the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My poor dad was PhD. And I always used to tell him PhD stood for poor, helpless, and desperate. And the reason I say that, I mean, it's kind of, some people laugh, some people throw darts at me. But I always ask people, would you hire a PhD to work for you?
Right.
They don't have any skill sets. I can hire an accountant, I can hire a web programmer, I can hire a graphic artist, but I can't hire a PhD because they want too much money and they don't know how to do anything. So what happened, my dad lost his job. He found out how much his PhD was worth. Zero. And that's why Kim and I, came up with Rich Dad, Poor Dad and the cash flow game.
I mean, we do take an issue with the school system. Number one thing is that they punish kids for making a mistake. And the only way we learn and grow is by making mistakes. George and Robert and I and all our friends, we make a lot of mistakes, and that's how we learn. But if you're scared to death of making a mistake, then you're paralyzed and you don't take action. And action is needed today.
What's even better is to learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And see, the teachers have never done anything. So they've never taken any risks. So you can't learn anything from them.
Which is the biggest mistake.
Which then
The biggest mistake is you don't make mistakes.
Yeah. So brings me to the next point. So let's talk about this universal basic income. All of a sudden, people don't have to work. Right. There's less people out there working. There's less production happening. They're all fat and happy, getting this check. What happens?
Well, if I could jump in there. If I could jump in there.
Yeah.
The reason I call it fake money is the more the Fed prints money, the rich get richer.
Right.
We have asset inflation right now. We have asset inflation in the stock market, bond market, real estate market. I mean, it's feeding the rich. So UBI, MMT, quantitative easing, making the rich richer. Unfortunately, the middle class will pay higher taxes because the rich don't pay taxes. But what it does, when you have universal basic income and MMT, the poor get poorer. So they can't, so if you're a poor person, you can't afford a house now because real estate prices are so high.
Yeah, right.
And if you have universal basic income, I don't think a bank will touch you, if you want to buy real estate.
Yeah. It's like what was it in the Roman days, the bread and circuses, or the bread and circus? It seems like it's the same thing today with these stimulus checks and the UBIs, that people are getting a couple bucks in the mail, and they're thinking that's fantastic, while at the same time, they're not realizing that they're being priced out of every single asset in denominated in dollars.
Yeah.
And if they do try to buy a house, or if they do try to invest in stocks or bonds, and if they don't know what they're doing, they're going to get steamrolled, because everything is in a bubble thanks to the Fed, the money printing, and the artificially low interest rates.
And UBI will accelerate that.
That's right.
It'll make the bubble so big, it turns into a mania.
Well, I think that we're seeing that today. Yeah. You know what's interesting too? You used the word mania, and we hear a lot in the media right now with this cancel culture, where everyone is hysterical about everything else. But there's also a lot of hysteria in the stock market,
Yeah.
in all these asset classes. So it's like we live in this world where everyone is hysterical about something. It's just kind of pick your poison.
Let's go back to macro, because that's where it really starts. As I was talking before the thing came on here, and I was in the gym. Macro is this, okay? There's capital gains and there's cash flow. And you got to know what you're going for. So in real estate or in stocks or in bonds, people most of the time are going for capital gains. So when a person flips a house, they're going to buy it for 100, goes to 200, they're going to net 100. But the trouble with capital gains is you pay tax on it.
Mm.
Okay, so
The trouble with capital gains isn't also the trouble with capital gains is you're always counting on the markets to go up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, generally for the average guy, yes. But the other part, there's always a boom and a bust. And I'm predicting the biggest bust in world history is coming. So it's going to be the biggest opportunity of all times, because, Kim and I made our fortunes 2008 because, we had apartment houses and our tenants were leaving to buy their houses they couldn't afford. I mean, there was a thing called a ninja loan.
You're
No income, no job. But if you could fog a mirror, you can buy this $400,000 house.
They couldn't qualify for a $650 a month rent, but they could qualify for a $250,000 house.
Yeah, right.
And so, okay, so there's booms, busts, capital gains, cash flow. And there's a thing called, and there's always the opposite. So I was at the gym just now, and before everybody came out, I said, I felt for this guy. He says, I've been a bus driver for 40 years. I'm going to retire, and I can't wait. He's turned 65. I said, what do you got? He said, I got a 401k. I said, what's it filled with? He says, oh, I just sold all my stocks at the top of the market, and I went into bonds.
Right.
George, what did he just do?
The most stupid thing he could possibly have done, to
Why?
put it mildly.
Why is that?
Well,
George, you shouldn't laugh at the poor guy.
yeah, no,
I almost cried.
Yeah, I'm giving him a hard time, of course, but I wanted to say it like that to really emphasize the point that, first of all, you should never put all your eggs in one basket, but especially not the bond market right now with all the money printing that you referred to earlier. Robert, before you said you think the market is going to crash. So whether that's the stock market, real estate market, the question is, does it crash in nominal terms or adjusted for inflation? See, the stock market can stay the same as it is right now, but if we get 10% inflation because of all the money printing, you'll actually lose purchasing power. You see, so the market can crash up just as easy as it can crash down if your definition of a crash is losing purchasing power. So if you're someone that believes, like I do, that once the Fed starts printing all this money, the government prints all this money with stimulus and whatnot, they cannot stop. It's like a heroin addict. The only thing they can do is print more and more and more. And if they can't reverse course, then you need to start thinking through your portfolio in terms of hard assets.
Correct.
Something tangible.
Well,
now,
hang on. If that goes back to, are you going for capital gains or cash flow?
yes,
Do you know
that's
what I mean?
right.
And that applies to any asset class, real estate, bonds, stocks, businesses, and all this. Because you could say, well, I'm an entrepreneur, but if the crash wipes out your business, you have no cash flow. And what happened when the COVID hit for Kim and myself, cash flow went up, because the market was demanding more financial education. Is that correct, Kim?
Yeah, I was ecstatic to see so many people taking this time when they were in lockdown or at home with their family and kids. And they were studying, they were buying Cash Flow Game. They were reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. They were really taking the time to study and learn because they were preparing for what was coming. So that was a great sign to me that people were using this time to get educated.
So please understand, it's always going up and down, in and out. And that's what investing is. That's the capital gains, cash flow, boom, bust, liquidity, all this stuff. And that's what financial education is. It's not this poor guy who says, I have a 401k and I was told to sell all my stocks and get into the bond market. Now, George, would you explain why you said that is the most stupid thing you could do?
Because you're getting a future stream of dollars. That's all a bond is. You're buying a bond for $1,000 and they're saying, okay, in 10 years, we're going to give you $1,000 back. And along the way, we'll pay you a little bit of interest. I mean, it's negligible at best. So what happens if we have a high rate of inflation because of the money printing, you're going to get paid that $1,000 back, but it's going to buy you a loaf of bread. So you don't get back your purchasing power. You only get back your dollars.
Yeah. If I could add one more thing about the relationship. See, when I look at this stuff, I'm looking at the relationship between equities or stocks and bonds. And so the reason the stock market went up is they kept dropping the interest rates on the bonds. So, when I started off, interest rates were about 16%.
Yeah. Right.
So if I had a bond, I was getting 16% interest. That was a very valuable bond. If they dropped the interest rate to 14%, my 16% bond was more valuable. Does that make sense? It's like my cash flow from the bond or the dividend was good. And so when the market kept crashing, they dropped it to 8. And today, I think it's about 2.5 on the long bond. So as to keep the stock market up, they had to keep dropping the bond prices down, and now we're at zero. They call it the zero bound.
Yeah.
And that's where Japan is.
Yeah, for a long time.
If they can't keep dropping that bond price, the stock market comes down. So that's the correlation between equities, stocks, and bonds. So this is my question, George. So let's say today bonds are 2%, long bond, 10 year. What happens if it goes to 5%? Because inflation comes in, they have to raise the bond rate to 5%. What happens to the 2-year bond?
The value of the bonds purchased at 2% goes down.
Yeah, and that's what that guy did.
That's right. He's buying a bunch of stuff with a value. You really can't get any capital gain on it. That most likely you're going to be stuck holding that thing till it matures, and that's not going to be good in inflation. Another thing, Robert, those bonds pay you a set amount of interest. One of the great things about real estate, and one of the great things about being an entrepreneur, going back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is you put yourself in the position of being a price maker, where other people are price takers. The majority of people are price takers, so they have to take whatever price is offered by whatever it is they want to buy. But the real estate owner, the apartment owner, let's say, or the business owner, can raise their prices if the rate of inflation is going up. So it hedges you against inflation while at the same time paying you to own it with that positive cash flow. And a bondholder does not have that opportunity, to say the least.
Which goes back to why all of us are entrepreneurs and why all of us invest in real estate, is because we want to be able to control our assets. And
That's
you're
right.
saying we can't control the bond market, we can't control the real estate market, we can control our properties and we can control our businesses.
The reason we invest in education first, which is why Rich Dad's World, our coaching and all this, there's several other things, is that bonds and stocks are liquid. Real estate's not. So it's like that guy buying a bond at 2%. Nobody wants it if it's 5%. So if you buy a piece of real estate, let's say in Dallas, Texas, and suddenly the prices drop, it's hard to get out of that debt on that real estate because it's not liquid.
Yeah.
So the good thing about the bond, he can dump it and take his loss now. But real estate is illiquid.
Yeah.
And that's why we highly suggest Rich Dad's World, investing in financial education, because it's not an answer to it. It's a process. And my concern is, and I'm not saying don't buy. Like I was just in Texas, it's a mania. You know, in the last year, land prices have gone up 200% because everybody's running out of California and New York, wherever they're running from. And everybody wants to get out of the cities. So they want a piece of the country. So land prices spiked. Now, is that good or bad? If there's a crash and whatever happens, and they have $1 million piece of dirt called a ranch, there's not much cash flow from that dirt.
That's right.
Right. And so that's why we highly recommend education, Rich Dad's World, a coach, a real teacher to guide you through the process. Because Kenny McElroy, although we know that real estate is at an all-time high and you've got to be more careful. But are we stopping? No. But you have to be smarter when it's this high.
Yeah.
It's actually easier when there's a crash.
I was just going to say that. When I first started investing in 2012, you want to talk about low-lying fruit. You can just go out there, you buy anything and make a 200% return and a 15% cash on cash return with your cash flow. But as the market heats up and as we get more and more into a bubble, prices rise, the priority on expertise really becomes that much more important, to a point where if we get where we are today and you're trying to invest and you don't have that level of expertise, if you haven't been educated, you're really playing with fire. But it's weird because you need to get out there and do something, because you don't want to sit on cash, you don't want to sit on bonds, and you want to be a price maker. You want to be a real estate owner so you can raise those rents and you can have that cash flow coming in. Another thing, Robert, that you mentioned that I think people really need to understand is if you have positive cash flow coming in on your property, this is the holy grail. Because let's say the values do go down in nominal terms by 20%. So what? Who cares? You're not selling. It's just like buying a McDonald's franchise. If the price of that McDonald's franchise goes down in the next year, but you make an extra 25% to the bottom line, you don't care, because you're not going to sell that McDonald's ever. You want to give it to your kids. It's the same thing with these properties. And then if you have positive cash flow, you're never put into a position where you have to sell.
So that's why I said there's capital gains and cash flow. And these people who are rushing into real estate, the other thing is when prices go up, all the suckers come in.
Yeah, right.
And so that's when the flippers come in. And they buy a hot property, the price drops, and they're stuck with the debt forever. And that's what happened in the 2008. So when Kim entered the market, it was remember that people were.
The market in Portland was in terrible condition, was in terrible shape, and that's one of the reasons we moved there. And we did really, really well. And then we sold Portland because then Portland started taking off. We moved to Phoenix because the Phoenix market had crashed, and moved there and started buying there. But to your point too about the financial education and there's so many different types of real estate. It drives me crazy when they say, "Oh, the real estate market in the U.S. is at such and such."
Oh, yeah, right.
The U.S. I mean, there's a city within cities within cities within cities. There's so many segments, and then there's residential, then there's commercial, then there's self-storage, there's billboards. Billboards is a real estate play. I mean, there's so many different types that you cannot just use one formula on every single type of property. So you really do have to get smarter, because we see a lot of opportunities coming up, no doubt.
And what Kim was saying is probably one of the things that the reason I recommend Rich Dad's World and getting coaching, getting educated, is because I won't mention his name, but he's a stock guy. And after the market crashed, he says, oh, just get into real estate. Well, you don't just go from stocks to real estate. That's like riding two different animals.
Yeah.
But they just say these things and the suckers go in. The point is that the all-time highs is when the biggest suckers come in. So that's why today, I'm not saying don't buy. Kenny is buying, we're still looking, but we've got to be smarter. And
Yeah.
that's why Rich Dad's World and all this, it's a good time to be buying, but you've got to be smarter.
Yeah, you have to be sophisticated. Although real estate prices are at all-time highs, the debt prices are at all-time lows.
And that's why if they raise the interest rate on the bonds, the stock market comes down. Because
Yeah,
the reason the stock market went up is because bond prices were coming down. So this guy sees the stock market going up. So he says, okay, I got out. I went into bonds. I went, oh my God.
Yeah, so the opposite way to play that, and I think the smart way, is if you own a cash flow property, but you own it with 30-year fixed rate debt, you're going to be paying your debt back in devalued dollars. So you're going to increase your purchasing power. You're actually going to make money. You're going to increase your purchasing power on the debt itself, even if the asset, the property, goes down a little bit or up a little bit. It really doesn't matter. And but to be clear, in order to do that, you need a certain degree of sophistication. You don't have to be a rocket scientist by any stretch of the imagination, but you can't be green, just go in there and just pick any house off the MLS as an example. And just because you've got a loan on it, think that you're going to benefit from inflation. You're probably going to get run over. But if you're like Kenny, as an example, and you know how to really leverage that, then you're going to use it as an opportunity. And now is a great time to get in if you have that level of expertise.
But other things,
points. I mean, the fixed rates, we can get 30-year fixed rates, and this goes, Rich Dad's World is all over the world, and you can fix your rates at different terms, different lengths of time is number one, which is great. And the other point I was going to make, and I just lost my thought.
Oh, I can.
Go ahead.
On that, you just said you used the word world, and that just dawned on me. The majority of real estate investing I do, like I said earlier, is in Medellin, Colombia, and the returns I can get in Colombia would blow your mind. I mean, absolutely blow your mind. But a lot of people go down there, a lot of gringos go down there and try to make money, and 99% of them lose money. But the 1% can make 100% returns annually, or 20% positive cash flow. But why? Because they're a local expert. They have the knowledge. They've been there. Like me, I had to go there and I didn't have anyone to teach me. So I had to teach myself and do the boots on the ground research. But once you have that level of education, then the returns can be huge, while at the same time, the other 99% of people are actually losing money.
Wouldn't you recommend the boots on the ground, your self-education, going and learning the markets before you're investing? I think that's
yeah, for sure. I would suggest kind of doing what I did. And I did both at the same time. When I first got involved with real estate investing in 2012, I absorbed as much information as I possibly could. I was listening to every single podcast. I was listening to every single audio book. I was, any type of education I could get my hands on. I was absorbing that. I was digesting that to the best of my ability, while at the same time, I was driving for dollars and trying to understand neighborhoods and trying to figure out school districts and trying to see opportunities and figure out if I could find motivated sellers. So I was kind of doing both at the same time. And if you can do that, I think that's ideal. If you could take some sort of program, a fast track, like the program you guys have, to get that information that you really need to understand what you're doing, especially in today's world. And then if you could combine that with some of the boots on, even if it's not going to Colombia, I'm not saying that, but just get in your car, for heaven's sakes, on the weekend and drive around the neighborhoods, start to learn the local market. And that's what's going to give you a big edge.
And that's how, Kim, you found your first investment in Portland, right?
Yep, just driving around neighborhoods. And the first one we found was 2 blocks from our house. So we kind of knew that market.
And you know what? The best investment Kim ever did is less than 2 blocks from our house today.
Today, yeah.
It's a commercial property. But this is one more thing. When Kenny and Blair and I were standing in St. Joe, Texas, looking at this little yellow church in a great neighborhood, commercial. The only question is, who's a tenant? Do you know what I mean? And that's what Craig Coppola, who found the best deal that Kim ever did, which was a fitness club, which is becoming an old age home now, is who's the tenant? How credit worthy are they? And that's what Craig Coppola said, small properties attract small tenants, create big problems. And so it doesn't make a difference, even though the church is $100,000 and Kenny's trying to finance 150 million today. The questions are the same. Is that correct, George?
Absolutely. Yeah, the same rules apply to a business or real estate, regardless of the size. People could argue, well, you've got scaling issues and whatnot. Yeah, but it boils down to solving the same types of problems and having the same type of education for sure. So, you know, people look at real estate as, well, I want a way to subsidize my income, make an extra $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And that's great. You can definitely do it. But the neat thing about real estate is it's almost infinitely scalable, to where once you learn how to make $2,000, $3,000 a month, well, now you can figure out how to make $10,000 a month. And then you can figure out how to make $100,000 a month. And then you can really figure out how to become a Ken McElroy, if that's what you want to do. And that's the great thing about starting right here, right now. You know, Kim, in our interview the other day on my channel, we talked about what's the biggest roadblock for people becoming financially free. It's for them to actually take action, to get out of their own way, to get off the couch and actually do something. And if they can take action, they're going to be way ahead. And as a result of being at the right place at the right time and having that education to be able to see an opportunity, I was able to take advantage of that, make a lot of money between 2015 and 2020.
So I could go back to what George is saying. There's booms and busts. And the most dangerous time is actually a boom. You know, if you enter late. And the safest time is actually the bust, if you know what you're doing. And so Kenny's advantage is he can build.
Yeah.
So he can take a huge project. He brings his construction crews in so it can be destroyed and he can add value to it. But a person who's buying a 3-bedroom ranch house for, let's say, $1 million and hoping to flip it for $2 million, it's not good. He can't. Yeah, he really can't improve a 3-bedroom ranch house in a tight neighborhood. Too small.
Yeah, there's no edge. I remember reading the Market Wizards books when I just started my journey in investing, and from the greats, Stan Druckenmiller, Jim Rogers, etc. And that was one thing they said over and over and over again. You have to have an edge. And if you look in the mirror, if you buy that 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch that's 1,200 square feet that everyone else on the planet Earth is buying and driving up the price, and it's got negative cash flow, there's a negative carry on it. What's your edge there? You don't have an edge. And if you don't have an edge, it's like being, the person at the poker table who's trying to look around and trying to figure out who the sucker is. The sucker's you.
So sorry, I lost my internet connection there for just a moment. So I missed the last piece, but what you were saying, George, maybe you said this, Robert, Kenny taught us this. He said, when it comes to a real estate deal, the person with the best plan wins. And that's the edge. The person with the best plan wins. And for example, Robert and I saw this little tiny postage stamp lot by our office, by the Rich Dad office. And it was like just, I don't know, $2 million or something. We're like, what in the world? How in the world can you make that little postage stamp cash flow? So we never took a run at it. Well, now there's a W Hotel sitting there.
Ah, okay.
We had a better plan than we did.
I know that postage stamp well. I've actually spent a lot of money at that postage stamp.
So that's why your education, your creativity, your knowledge and experience. Point here is this. you don't get to these multi-million-dollar deals starting. So
No.
before we go on, Kim, how big was you have to get that experience and education under your belt.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake that guy of the 401k who's in the equity market, shift to bond market, at the worst time possible. So Kim, how did you get started in real estate? Well, how big was your deal?
Little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, $45,000, had to come up with $5,000 down.
How big was your first deal?
Mine was $14,000, and I bought it at a tax auction in
What did you
August of 2012, Kansas City. And I sold that house. Oh my gosh, who knows? I cash flowed it. I put some money into the rehab, but I was making probably $1,200 a month on that thing in rent. And then I sold it, whatever, 5, 6, 7 years later for probably 140 grand.
So you had capital gains, but you had the cash flow to support the
Huge cash flow, because I only put about 25,000 into the rehab. So, I'm all in at, call it 40, 45 grand.
And my first purchase, I did a seminar in Hawaii on how to buy property for nothing down. And the agreement was I had to look at 100 properties in 90 days and write a report for every property for 90 days. So I had 100 properties, I did an evaluation, and that was my education. At the end of the 100 days, the 90 days and the 100 properties, I knew exactly what I was going to buy.
Yeah.
It was a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo on Maui on the beach, $18,000, and I paid for it with a credit card. I was 100% leveraged on it. And I slept like a baby because I knew the cash flow.
Yeah, right.
So all of you out there, that's what real education is. It's not that garbage you learn in school. And the reason I love listening to George, because he has the lashes on his back to speak from experience. And most school teachers don't.
Another thing that I've done lately is stayed in a lot of Airbnbs, and I've tried to, for my channel, really mix up and have a diverse group of properties where I've stayed, just to show people that at any end of the economic spectrum or whatever your level of investment, you can make money in real estate. As an example, now I'm in a $1.2 million property that they're using a section of it for Airbnb, creating great cash flow. But when I first went to Florida, just to prove a point, because I talk about this on my channel all the time, I rented an RV. And some guy, he pays, it's a little bumper pole, probably $25,000 for it. It's new, very, very nice. But he had it on a slip in an RV park, which is a really nice place. Everyone out there making marshmallows and hot dogs and everything. But he maybe paid $25,000 for that RV, and I was paying him $150 a night to stay in that place. Just do the math on that with an 80% occupancy rate.
Yep. Again, all different markets, all different ways to buy and rent out real estate.
So thank you, George. Thank you, Rich Dad's World. And please sign up with their projects. And your education, the best piece of real estate is between your left ear and your right ear.
That's right.
And at Rich Dad's World too, one of the shortcuts, if there's ever a shortcut, is mentors. And just as you're talking, George, I want to learn from people that are doing what it is I want to do. And I think that's one of the keys to success. And that's what I love about Rich Dad World as well.
Wow, that was incredible. What a powerful event. Now let's talk about how you, the viewer, can leverage the information and take advantage of a great opportunity from Rich Dad. Robert Kiyosaki has agreed to join me for this upcoming segment. It's designed to help you take action from today's learnings. Now, Robert, I'm going to give you just a minute to get settled in so we can share an exciting opportunity with our viewers. But first, let me say it's truly a great honor for me to get to speak with you today. Now, for our viewers, I hope you're feeling motivated to take your next step. Whether you're looking to become an entrepreneur or an investor for the first time, or perhaps you're ready to take it up a notch and do bigger and more profitable deals. Either way, we're here to support you.
Okay, and remember, as promised, Robert is going to stick around and he's going to share advice to help you take your next steps. Plus, stay tuned for a special bonus segment with Robert.
Speaking of your next step, Let's start there first. Robert and I both have complete confidence in your ability to do this. The reason? Because amateurs don't seek out financial education. Professionals do. And by showing up here today to seek out this education, you've already shown that you're ready to become a pro at this. Since you're here, what we're about to share with you is an exclusive opportunity for you, and it's designed to change your financial future and begin immediately increasing your monthly cash flow. You've already heard some powerful information today, but now it's your time to consider, what are you going to do with it? Hopefully today, you've seen how simple success can be if you just follow the path of those who have already done what you're trying to do. Learn what they did. Repeat what they did. It's much easier and faster to achieve results. So you can take what you've learned today and end up miles ahead of what most people achieve financially in their entire lifetime.
I took action myself 20 years ago with no experience and no blueprint. I had only read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but I knew it was possible. You don't need to waste your time, energy, and hard-earned money the way I did. You can virtually eliminate your risks and finally get out of the rat race in a fraction of the time it took me. 20 years ago, I wish I had what Robert and his team are going to offer you today. An exclusive invitation to secure your financial freedom and exit the rat race by implementing Robert's Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint. This first-of-its-kind online training system will walk you through the exact steps to acquire at least one cash flow-producing property in the next year, and then repeat the process again and again. So, if you're serious about finally getting out of the rat race, if you want a reliable, proven financial education that can make your financial freedom attainable faster than you ever thought possible, if you want to guarantee yourself a raise of at least $6,000 every single year, and if you want to take all of the risky guesswork out of increasing your cash flow, then the Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint is specifically for you. In order to fulfill Robert's mission to elevate the financial well-being of humanity, he worked with his team to develop an innovative, step-by-step system that lays out exactly what to do to achieve financial independence with real estate. It's literally a blueprint for building a bridge to financial freedom the Rich Dad way. After you've gone through this step-by-step system, you'll know exactly how to buy your first or your next investment property with positive cash flow, with little or none of your own money guaranteed. The teaching and training material you'll have access to in the Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint has already made such a massive difference in so many people's lives. That's because it's the same material Robert and his coaches have used for years. They've used it to help people achieve financial freedom the Rich Dad way. Take Lisa, for example. She started like I did. She picked up the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad and had her eyes opened. She had to really work to get her husband on board at first because this was such a big change for them. But they knew they had to do something different because they had such big expenses and no true assets. But now their passive income has surpassed their expenses. Here's what Lisa had to say. We're proud to say we reached our goal of acquiring passive income over expenses in our own personal lives. This was no easy task since we had lots of expenses and no true assets. However, with the knowledge that the Rich Dad team offers, which is massive, a little patience, persistence, and minding our business, we were able to achieve this in a few short years. Lisa R., Tennessee. Wow, I still can't help but get excited when I hear results like that. And the Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint is going to make them attainable for you too. This system comes to you with 7 comprehensive coaching sessions you can access anytime, where Robert's personally trained real estate coaches walk you through every profit-making strategy you need to know. They'll show you step-by-step how to achieve real wealth with real estate. Even if you have little or no money, no experience, and you have a full-time job, let me quickly show you what you're going to learn in each module. In module number 1, Think Like the Rich, you'll learn how to leverage not only your own money, but more importantly, other people's money to unlock true wealth. You'll start to think like the rich think and seize opportunities that are right in your backyard, just like the rich do. In module number 2, Taking Control of Your Cash Flow, you'll learn how simple it is to finally take back control of your cash flow and establish your plan, be secure, and live life on your terms. Module number 3 is where you're going to learn how you can do this no matter what your schedule is, whether you have a demanding full-time job or you're an extremely busy parent. It's called Making Time for Success. And by the end, you'll be leveraging your personal time like the rich manage theirs, so you can get the highest returns on the time you do have available. In module number 4, Identifying Your Target Market, we'll give you the tips, tricks, and secrets to locate properties with the most profit potential. So you're not going to have to worry about where to look or how to know if a property has great potential or not. We're going to show you exactly what to look for and what to avoid. Of course, finding the right market and properties is only half the equation. That's why in module number 5, Finding Properties That Cash Flow, we'll show you how to find motivated sellers and maximize your cash flow, so you don't have to waste your time chasing unprofitable deals. After doing this over and over again all over the world, we know the specific traits to look for in a seller in order to get unbelievable value out of your deal. So this really gives you an unfair advantage in every potential deal you find. In module number 6, Showing You the Money, you'll learn how you can acquire almost any deal using creative financing techniques to purchase properties with little or no down payment. And ultimately, in module number 7, Doing Your First Deal, you're going to see step-by-step how to establish connections and negotiate your deals for maximum cash flow. As you watch these sessions, Robert's coaches will walk you through everything you need to quickly start acquiring cash flow producing properties. You're also going to have instant access to Robert's step-by-step real estate cash flow curriculum, which includes in-depth exercises and training materials. This will allow you to map out your exact plan of action, so you'll have a completely unique blueprint designed the Rich Dad way for your specific market and your financial situation. So, immediately after you join today, you're going to receive an email from the Rich Dad team giving you instant access to the entire real estate cash flow blueprint system. Inside our secure, members-only site, you'll have immediate access to the highest quality training material we believe exists on the market today. And you'll also get every update that we implement as time goes on. So you can keep coming back to this again and again to help you acquire even more assets. You're getting the exact system Robert's developed to help people acquire their first property without the fear and pitfalls that hold most would-be investors back. Start generating positive cash flow and passive income within just a few months of getting started. Eliminate the easily avoidable but all too common mistakes that cost amateur investors thousands of dollars and endless stress. Becoming financially free so you can stop worrying and live the life you've always wanted. Maybe that means taking that dream vacation with your family. Or maybe it means eventually walking away from your 9-to-5 job so you can have the flexibility to spend more time with the people that matter most while pursuing your passion. It's all put together for you as if Robert's team of coaches were standing right beside you, showing you what to do every step of the way. You can do this if you have no experience, even if you don't have a ton of money or good credit, and even if you feel like you don't have the spare time to get started. Let's hear about the experience of a couple of rich dad success stories who took control of their financial future, and they've seen some amazing results.
Hi, my name is Arturo Medrano. So I decided to join the Rich Dad program, and I sincerely recommend to everyone to follow this path, to increase your financial education, because it's possible to achieve your dreams. Even though I'm just starting and I have so much more to learn, I'm very motivated because I know that my real motivation now is based on positive results.
Hi, my name is Danielle Haydock, and we're in Canton, Ohio. We're on the southwest side of Canton, in a house that I just closed on this morning, that I've already resold on land contract. That's the niche that I've been pursuing, one of the things that I was inspired to do after doing the program with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've been doing the program and doing really great. I wanted to have actual monthly income with my real estate deals, and that's what's current right now. So I'm very happy. Thank you so much to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think your program is awesome.
There's no good reason why you can't be one of Robert's next success stories. If they did it, You can too. Now, I'm guessing the question on everyone's mind at this point is, how much does the Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint cost? We believe the financial education this system gives you exceeds virtually any other real estate investing seminar or course you'll find in the market. And there are live in-person investing seminars charging as much as $30,000 for teaching similar kinds of real estate investing techniques. Not only are these seminars expensive, they're inconvenient. You have the added cost of travel, not to mention the time spent away from your family. And then you have to cram into some hotel room and listen to speakers drone on for hours. And if you attend one of these, I hope you're great at taking notes, because you only get to hear the information once. You don't get to come back to it again and again in a convenient online format like Robert's Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint. That's why Robert created the new Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint system, so everyone could afford the professional support they need to finally get out of the rat race once and for all. And the great news is, Robert's newest step-by-step system won't cost you anywhere near $30,000. To make sure everyone can afford the training and education necessary to build wealth and finally get out of the rat race, Robert is making his new Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint system available today only to the first 100 students at an exclusive introductory live stream special price. Now, this offer is only valid during this strategy session, and it's limited to the first 100 students who act right now. To take advantage of the exclusive introductory live stream offer for the first 100 students and get instant access to the entire Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint, simply click the button that says, "Yes, I want in." You'll enter your information into our secure system, and you'll get an email giving you immediate access. Robert is so passionate about helping students who help themselves. He wants to reward your decision to take action and invest in your financial freedom with 3 incredible bonuses, available exclusively to those attending this strategy session. The first bonus, it's called the Personal Real Estate Riches Profile, and it was created by the world-renowned Myers-Briggs. This profile will show you is that it really doesn't matter what kind of personality you have. Whether you're introverted, extroverted, feel anxious talking about money, or excited about it, there are proven tactics you can use to feel comfortable and confident in the negotiating process and save yourself thousands of dollars. So that means you're going to get Rich Dad's Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint and the Personal Real Estate Riches Profile, which is already a total value of close to $2,700. Of course, you'll be getting it at a fraction of that. But that's not all you're going to get. Let's talk about bonus number 2. Now, the only thing that can be more paralyzing than the fear of getting started with taking control of your financial future is the legal side of acquiring assets. Can you do it without hiring an expensive lawyer? The second bonus you're getting solves all those issues. It's Robert's Proven Real Estate Contracts and Forms Toolkit. It gives you tested professional contracts and forms you can use with confidence to profit from your first deal. This bonus alone has a value of $495. For people who take action and join today, we have an exclusive third bonus that gives you everything you need to scale beyond your first success and truly maximize your cash flow. The Insider Secrets to Scaling Your Cash Flow and Mastering Real Estate bonus course. In these bonus sessions, Robert's personally trained experts are going to reveal the insider secrets of how to build off your first success and truly scale your wealth in a predictable way. In these 7 bonus sessions, you're going to learn things like the secrets to painless and profitable property management. So many people don't realize you don't have to turn into a handyman or maintenance engineer to own properties if you learn to do it the Rich Dad way, which is exactly what we'll show you. You're also going to learn how to build your own personal team of advisors. We'll show you how to surround yourself with specialists so you can continue growing your wealth even faster and with even more time and freedom in your schedule. You'll also discover the secrets to skyrocketing cash flow with foreclosures and fixer-uppers. Robert's experts walk you through the exact process for finding and acquiring distressed properties for maximum profit. And best of all, We'll show you how to leverage the simple real estate tax advantages the rich have known about for decades. After all, Robert doesn't pay taxes. Why should you? Honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg of what these sessions will cover. And if you're an action taker, we're going to reward you with this third bonus worth nearly $2,000. It's everything you need to fill your asset column with income-producing properties. To recap, that means you get the Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint, the Personal Real Estate Riches Profile created with Myers-Briggs, Robert's Proven Real Estate Contracts and Forms Toolkit, and the Insider Secrets to Scaling Your Cash Flow and Mastering Real Estate bonus course. Sold separately, this would easily have a value of over $5,000, but you'll get them for a fraction of that. This is the only time we've ever offered this kind of training and this much value at this exclusive bargain price. And it's only available right here on this strategy session to the first 100 students. This opportunity will disappear, and we may never ever offer it again at this price. So I want you to imagine for a moment, if all this did was finally give you the nudge you need to finally get out of the rat race and start making significant progress toward getting financial freedom, would it be worth it? Or what if it gave you the flexibility to start setting your own schedule so you can spend more time with the people who matter most to you? How would it feel to take that day off just because you feel like it? Would that be worth it? Or how about simply having peace of mind that your family's financial future is secure? What would it be worth to never have to worry about what things might look like 5 or 10 years from now because of the decision you make today? It would absolutely be worth it, right? Now, I know when we talk in those terms, it can almost sound like a dream, like something that's always going to be beyond your reach. But let's do some quick back-of-the-napkin math right here so you can see just how attainable your dreams really are when you start building wealth with cash flow-producing real estate. So if all this program did was show you how to get just one property that gave your family an extra $500 of cash flow per month, that would add up to an extra $6,000 every year. That would be great, right? When's the last time you got a $6,000 raise? But even more importantly, you'd know exactly how to do it again and again and finally get out of the rat race. Think about this for a minute. What could it do for your life if you didn't stop with just one property? Imagine if you continued to simply repeat the process and bought just one additional property per year that each generated $500 per month. That would be $90,000 in additional cash flow over the next 5 years. Plus, the increased equity in those properties while someone else is making the payments for you. And remember, that's from only taking the time to do this once per year. But what if you did a little more? What if you acquired just 3 properties per year? Those numbers would add up fast. You could see over $250,000 of additional cash flow in just 5 years. It might sound crazy, but it shows you what can happen when you implement Robert's proven strategies. And maybe some of you want to take it to another level. Maybe you're targeting 1 property per month. That would be 12 properties per year. I'm not even going to share how much cash flow that would be, but you can guess it's a really big number. Do you see how exciting this is? I hope you feel as excited as I do about these numbers. And don't forget, not only are you creating positive cash flow every month, but you're also controlling potentially millions of dollars in real estate. And other people are paying the mortgages. This makes your small investment in yourself here today a no-brainer. What you have in front of you today is exactly the solution I wish I had when I started back in 1997. Robert's Real Estate Cash Flow Blueprint means you don't need to suffer through the expensive trial and error of going it alone. It's going to show you step by step how you can acquire at least 1 positive cash flow producing property in this next year, and then go out and repeat the process over and over, even if you have no cash to invest, poor or no credit, and no experience. All the hard work has been done for you. It can give you lifelong passive income to finally get out of the rat race once and for all. Now, I know many of you are familiar with Robert and Rich Dad. You've read a book or two, and you've seen the real results the Rich Dad way has achieved for thousands and thousands of investors all over the world. But I know for some of you, this is our first time meeting and getting to know one another. Maybe you're much newer to Rich Dad. And while Robert and I hope we've given you incredible value by taking you deeper into the secrets of gaining financial freedom today, we want to make sure this decision to invest in your financial future is as easy as possible. We want to give you what is truly a risk-free investment for making the bold decision to take control of your life right now. That's why Robert's backing this program with a 30-day money-back guarantee. We're so confident this is going to help you start generating passive income quickly. We're going to remove all the risk. So if you decide for any reason this isn't for you, just let the Rich Dad team know in the first 30 days, and you'll receive a full refund with no hassle and no questions asked. This gives you plenty of time to jump into the real estate cash flow blueprint and see just how game-changing it can be for your income and your lifestyle. That's how confident we are that this will have a profound impact on your life. Also, for those of you who are excited to dive into the training, but maybe you're a little hesitant or afraid of getting stuck, we want to make this as simple as possible for you. That's why we're making a special option available today only to the first 100 students worth $2,000 that will give you live comprehensive sessions where Robert's personally trained real estate experts walk you through every profit-making strategy you need to know. That means if you have a question, you can get a personal answer from one of Robert's coaches. And remember, these are experienced real estate investors. Just click yes, I want in to learn more. Now, if there's one thing I know from experience, if you want to be your own boss, if you really want to get out of the rat race, you have to take action. You have to make a choice. You can choose to do nothing, continue on your current path, and hope for the best. Or you can make the choice that separates amateurs from professionals. You can choose to follow a proven system made by a team invested in your success. You can learn step by step exactly what to do from successful investors who have accomplished the things you want to accomplish. So here's your chance. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. If you're in, simply click the button and get started risk-free. With Robert's proven real estate cash flow blueprint system, you get everything you need to finally get out of the rat race. Anyone can become a Rich Dad success story, no matter their current situation. Do you want to be the next success story? If you're really serious and ready to take the next step to achieve true financial independence, there's never been a better, more convenient, simpler way to do it. This how-to training will literally walk you through, step by step, exactly how to acquire positive cash flowing property using Robert's proven wealth building methods. But if you really want this, you have to step up right now. Imagine for a moment how your life would improve with just an extra $500 or $1,000 per month for the rest of your life. If all this system did was get you one or two real estate investments, that's exactly what you'd get. Not to mention the long-term equity and tax savings you'd accumulate. That alone would be worth the modest investment today, wouldn't it? The program pricing and bonuses Robert and his team have assembled are not available to the general public, and they may never be offered again at this low event price. The bonuses and special event pricing are going to disappear after we end our time here together today. If you really want to achieve financial freedom for yourself that you don't have today, I urge you not to hesitate another second and risk missing out on this amazing opportunity. So Robert is standing by. Let me recap what your opportunity is today. Instant access to Robert's cutting-edge real estate cash flow blueprint system, plus bonus number 1, the personal real estate riches profile backed by world-renowned Myers-Briggs. Bonus number 2, Robert's proven real estate contracts and forms toolkit. Bonus number 3, the insider secrets to scaling your cash flow and mastering real estate bonus course. A total value of over $5,000, which you can get today if you're one of the first 100 students for an exclusive introductory live stream special price. Just click yes, I want in to learn more. Robert is so confident in this program that he's backed it with his 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, he'll refund the entire purchase price of your program. Okay, now remember, this special offer is only good until the end of this strategy session today, and it looks like we're nearing the end of our scheduled time together. So, let's start a timer for 15 minutes, and once the time runs out, this opportunity will expire. Again, to get instant access to the entire real estate cash flow blueprint and all of the free bonuses, simply click the button that says, "Yes, I want in."
So the point here is this, is that Rich Dad is a financial education company. We recommend you take courses. Hire somebody to take you through it. Hold your hand. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a smart thing to do because it's your money, and losing your money goes a lot faster than making your money. With me, I started in real estate back in 1973. I came back from Vietnam, and I went to my rich dad, and my rich dad always said, invest in real estate.
Now, we only have a little bit of time left. The fact is, this group is going to go on to accomplish big things, whether you join or not. This is your chance, though, to finally step up and change the course of the rest of your life. Listen, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Where do you want to be 6, 9, 12 months from now? Wishing you had taken action, or cashing checks from your income properties? Why not you? Why not now? Finding your happiness takes guts. Why can't this be the moment that you change your path and get the results you know are possible? Robert, do you have any final words for our viewers?
Sure. The mission of the Rich Dad Company is to elevate the financial well-being of humanity. And we can only do that through legitimate financial education. Okay? And that's the real purpose of education, give people a chance to live. Thank you very much.
So what's at stake here for you is Robert's cutting-edge real estate cash flow blueprint system, how to achieve real wealth the Rich Dad way. The personal real estate riches profile, Robert's proven real estate contracts and forms toolkit, and the insider secrets to scaling your cash flow and mastering real estate bonus course. A total value of over $5,000, which you can get today for an exclusive introductory live stream special price. But hurry. Remember, this offer is only good for the first 100 new clients. And remember, we're so confident this is going to help you start generating passive income quickly, we're going to remove all the risk. Just click Yes, I Want In to learn more. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. We've really enjoyed our time together and the opportunity to see you take real action. Now, I see we've nearly met full capacity, so don't miss out on this special event pricing and bonuses. Just click the button that says, Yes, I Want In on this page before it's too late. We look forward to helping you achieve financial independence and finally exiting the rat race. Okay, thanks for joining us today. We look forward to hearing about your success stories.
So Kim, one more thing is that, as Kim said earlier, there's so many different types of real estate. So you want to talk about, remember we were at Doral, Trump's place.
Yep.
And you were taking a run at, it's a 24-hour fitness or something.
It was a LA Fitness.
LA Fitness in Florida.
Yep.
And tell the story, because that's how you got your education, because it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of our best blow-ups are our best lessons. So I'll keep it short, but yes, there was an LA Fitness. I'd never done a deal at this size at the time. And I was starting to doubt whether I knew what I was doing, which was stupid because I've done so many real estate deals up until that point. Why this bigger number scared me. It's the same formula. It's the same process. So I brought in an attorney. Oh my God, that was mistake number one. Brought in an attorney, and this attorney started negotiating on our behalf. That was a disaster. Long story short, this went on and on.
The attorney made a lot of money.
Attorney made a lot of money. On top of it, the attorney was from Tucson, Arizona. The property was in Florida. So he doesn't even know the rules of Florida and all the real estate laws there. Anyhow, it went on. And finally, one evening, the seller called me up and he said, we're taking it off the market. This is too painful. Because I was like looking for a reason not to do it, because I was afraid I was going to make a mistake and I was going to lose money and all of that stuff in my head. So that deal disappeared. Well, in the meantime, I had gathered the stack of prospective deals that were sent to me, and I'm going through them. It's like at 11 o'clock at night, and there was another fitness club. And this time it was less money, better cash flow. And as Robert said, it was 2 blocks from our house. So by this time I knew so much about fitness clubs. I know how they operate. I know what the numbers look like. I know what to look for. So I called the broker, his name is Craig, and I said, is it still on the market? And he said, they never listed it, but if you're interested, they will accept it. They will take a look at your offer. And I said, what's the property worth? He said, they're asking 7.2 million at the time. This is back in 2001, 2002. They were asking 7.2 million. He said, it's worth 7.5. I said, give him full price. We'll close in 30 days. And he's like, what? You got to do all your due diligence. I said, believe me, I can do this really fast. And we did. And to this day, it is still our best performing property. And I have learned lesson after lesson after lesson on this one property. I'll give you one lesson I learned. As when 24-Hour Fitness left a few years ago, when their lease was up, we thought the next obvious tenant would be a fitness club. So we're looking around, and there was a local fitness club, and they were expanding. But I learned that if it's a local fitness club, the value, to Robert's point about the tenant, how important the tenant is, if it's a local fitness club, the value of your property is much less than if it's a AAA national tenant, because they are more stable, they have a better track record, people will pay more money. So if we were to sell that property, the quality of the tenant actually determines the value of your property.
That's right.
So yeah, that's the property that just keeps on giving via money, via cash flow, and via lessons. And
you guys want to hear how I learned about cash flow? It was the biggest mistake I've ever made in my investing journey. And thank goodness it's one of the only times I've ever lost money. I think it is the only time I lost money in real estate, but I bought some oceanfront property in Ecuador. And I thought, my goodness, this is the most gorgeous piece of land. And it was on this long stretch of beach that's like the South American version of Malibu. And I thought, well, you just can't go wrong here. But of course, it was highly illiquid, and it wasn't paying me to own it. There was no cash flow. So I had all this money tied up. Well, then all of a sudden, I learned that, okay, I'm trying to sell this thing. I can't sell it. Although I don't really want to drop my price. The price is good. There's just no buyers. And I'm just having to pay the property taxes. So what I ended up doing is having to sell it at a substantial discount, because I was the motivated seller, because I didn't have that cash flow coming in to where I could just sit on it. And then I had to take a loss as a result to move the property, get that equity back out and put it to work. And since that time, I have never bought a piece of real estate that I couldn't get cash flow from. And that's what took me into Medellin, where I started doing all of these apartments and made all this money. So it was the same type of story, same type of lesson that I parlayed into a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So mistakes, I think, is called experience. And I think the other part there is that the reason I was just in Texas, the land, the Seals place is a 100-acre ranch, and she was selling off a part of it. And I wanted to buy it with all my heart. I love land. It doesn't throw money off, though.
Yeah, right.
The liability. And it's beautiful. You get emotionally involved. So that's why Kenny and Blair and I were looking at this little church. The point here is this: the questions are the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little $100,000 church. It's got huge deferred maintenance and all that. But it's the same question: who's the tenant? What's the upside? What's the downside? And all that. The questions are always the same. But one more thing that Kim doesn't say is that property, the health club, which we can walk to from our house, it was throwing off $50,000 a month for 20-something years. That $50,000 a month isn't a lot of money to a lot of people.
And that's net. That's net in our pocket.
Plus, we're getting tax breaks because we're depreciating it. And so what Kim did was she borrowed the down payment to get $50,000 a month, which serviced the debt. And I liked it because we reduced our taxes.
Yeah.
And that's sophistication. So a lot of people, the 50,000 isn't exciting to most people, but to us it was. And then she converted it to the next biggest market, the next boom called old guys. so if you drive past the property today, it's high-end old guys residential. And you should see it. It's going up so fast right now.
We're in the process of building it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that money she borrowed, I don't know how much money you borrowed, $1 million or something.
More than that.
More than that, but it paid for itself. And so when, guys say live debt free, to me, that's stupid. When you can use debt as money, as long as you have a property or an asset that pays the debt for you, but it's worth studying. And so Kim has converted this. So we didn't sell the land. We sold the rights to the land. So now we make hundreds of thousands a month renting to old people. And that's a market that's going to keep growing, right, George?
Yeah, well, yeah, with the baby boomers for sure. But it just goes to show that if you have a level of sophistication or a level of education, that you can change the use case on a property.
Yeah.
And that's definitely one of the things that you can't do with a stock.
Yeah.
As an example. And, to Kim's earlier point, she was saying how you control the asset. You can control the asset and kind of maneuver it in order to get an increased return, increased cash flow. And that's one of the things that Ken does all the time. And I've seen the real pro real estate guys and gals, that's what they do consistently, whether the market has gone through a bust or if the market's currently in a boom. It just doesn't matter. Because of their expertise, they can find that opportunity, that needle in the haystack.
Yeah, the point here is this. It's not when Kim bought 24-Hour Fitness, it was for the land. The improvement in the building, the health club, bought the land for her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Another quick story. I didn't do this, but a buddy of mine's father did in Kansas City when I first started investing there. He purchased a high school from the city. It was a high school that had been vacant, just an eyesore for probably, who knows, 15, 20 years, something like that. I mean, he bought the whole thing, the track, the football field, like the parking lot, everything. And he got it, and they gave him all these tax credits and all these other things. He basically sold the tax credits and used that for the rehab, and he turned it into a co-working space. The whole entire high school into a co-working space. And then he refied out all these millions and millions and millions of dollars, and he barely had a penny out of pocket. I mean, it was just a genius move. And again, it just goes to show you the power of real estate if you know what you're doing.
And that also brings up the point, George, because you and I have talked about this, Robert, we've talked about this. One of the big opportunities is how do you repurpose all this office space? What do you do with it?
Yeah.
If you can crack that nut, there's huge numbers in that, but you've got to understand again what you're doing.
So anyway, I thank you all for listening. Thank you, George, for the friendship and the co-teaching. And any final words, Kim, on that?
My final comments is, George, thank you. It's such a joy to talk with you and hear your stories and learn from you. As you said, I can learn from your mistakes as well as your successes.
And George, would you promote the event you're doing?
Sure. Yeah, we're doing Rebel Capitalist Live, which is actually a live event, not through Zoom, not Skype, actual face-to-face human beings. Imagine that. And we've got some great speakers that are going to be there, such as yourself. We've got some people, a lot of the individuals that I interview on the Rebel Capitalist show will be there speaking, got cocktail party. But most importantly, it's an opportunity, especially in these crazy times that we live in, for people to interact with like-minded individuals and really get that positive energy from people who believe in freedom and liberty.
Right. And I think that's what George is saying. The most important thing is you come to this event, Rebel Capitalists, and you'll meet like-minded people.